everyone. Welcome to Bay Sunday. I'm your host, Frank Malico. Good to have you with us once again. Another big show for you this morning. We've got a doctor in the house, two nonprofits doing some great work here in the Bay Area, and we're going to talk immigration a little bit. And a reminder, of course, we encourage you to follow us on social media. We have extra things there, behind-the-scenes information, gadget reviews, you know the drill. And we hope you like our Facebook page, subscribe to our YouTube, follow us on Twitter. And if you got a great idea, I'd love to hear from you on our social network sites, or just go to cbssf.com. Now to the show. Our first guests are from the U.S. immigration offices. There are some misconceptions when it comes to citizenship, and we're going to set the record straight today. With us today, Robert Looney.
Yes.
Robert Looney, the Director of the Citizenship and Immigration, and Susan Boyer is the Direction Attorney for the Immigration Center and for Women and Children right here in San Francisco. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to have you here. Well, we talked about it out of the gate, but how do you start to become a citizen here? What's the first thing, if you come to the States, you love it, you want to become a citizen, what do you do?
Let's let the man from immigration.
Well, yeah, there's so many facets to that, an answer to that type of question. It would depend on the status of the person that's here, but the example that we talked about earlier before the show started concerns someone marrying a U.S. citizen. And the U.S. citizen or a legal permanent resident can petition for family members. So that would be the first step, and that is the road to obtaining a legal permanent resident card, or what we call a green card. Mm-hmm. After a certain amount of time in the U.S., again, it depends on the classification of the person receiving the resident status. Either 3 years or 5 years, they could then apply to become U.S. citizens.
So it takes a while. You can't just come here,
Correct.
Drop anchor, and say, I'm here.
Very rare. I mean, an act of Congress could accomplish that, but that's extremely rare.
What about when someone from Cuba says, you know, an athlete or said, I'm here, asylum in Miami? How does that work? Is that a whole different ball of wax?
Yeah, it is a whole different ball of wax. Now we're getting into asylum applications, which would be a first step towards resident status. And I mean, we are the government, so of course there are a lot of forms that are involved here, a lot of testimony and evidence that needs to be presented, but that is the first step on the road to citizenship.
And Susan, you deal with the San Francisco office here, and tell us, how many people apply and become citizens here in the greater San Francisco area, and where are they from? Is there a primary country, or where are they all coming from?
You know, since I'm just at a nonprofit, I only know the people who come into our office.
Sure.
And I had been in a nonprofit that does all kinds of immigration applications. And one of the things that you raised that was very interesting at the beginning, when you said, if I get married to a U.S. citizen, aren't I automatically a U.S. citizen? And I think that there's a misconception that there are a lot of avenues to immigration status, and that people are just lazy. You know, that they're just not getting around to it, they don't want to pay a lawyer, you know, that they aren't doing it. There are actually very few avenues toward legal immigration status. And even if there is a way you can get a petition from someone, you have to prove that you're eligible to then, with that relationship, get your papers.
And how does one become eligible? Is it I mean, they must do background checks, family,
Absolutely.
you know, make sure they're not getting Rasputin coming here to the United States?
Immigration is actually the second most complex law outside of tax law in the United States. So it's going to be kind of hard to
like
answer
a true lawyer
all of
here.
these questions. Yes.
Yeah.
My office specifically helps crime victims, because one of the reasons we wanted to come here is that the Immigration Service is wanting to do outreach about a humanitarian benefits that have these twin goals of helping to restore victims and assist law enforcement when victims come forward and help them. And so Mr. Looney was going to be talking about the T visa for people who've been trafficked into the United States. So there are many different entryways to be able to gain status, but then the blocks in front of them are incredibly substantial.
Sure.
And so it's usually at this stage where it becomes legal here in the United States. So he was going to talk about T visas, and then I'll be talking about the U visa.
Okay, we've only got about a minute and a half left. I'm sorry, but how about a T visa?
Well, not a problem. T visa, it's based on an act of Congress that allows victims of trafficking to apply to remain in the United States as they assist law enforcement. And there are two breakdowns of the type of categories that we would look at under this T visa. The first is sex trafficking, and the second is labor trafficking or exploitation. The numbers aren't very high. Since 2000 and Two, I believe that only approximately a little more than 5,000 of these T visas have been issued, but it allows a person to remain in the United States as they assist law enforcement in going after the real bad guys. And then eventually apply for legal permanent resident status and citizenship over a period of years.
And a U visa would be what?
The difference between the T visa and the U visa is with the T visa, the applicant has to prove that she has been brought to the United States, that she's been trafficked into the United States for the purpose of labor or sexual exploitation. Whereas the U visa is more just for regular on-the-street law enforcement agencies to be able to encourage everyone to come forward and report crime. Because as it is now, if you were to look at a radar map of Oakland, say for example, if no calls are coming from this neighborhood, and you have calls from here, you feel like, oh my gosh, all of that is unknown to us. There are crimes happening in here that can spread over to here. So law enforcement asked, particularly actually, Orrin Hatch of Utah, for some kind of good legislative fix to be able to deal with that problem, to encourage people in these dark, blacked out neighborhoods to start reporting crimes. And then it also restores them by giving them a path to legal status.
Oh, I see.
And so we've helped about 400 in the past year apply for this benefit.
You know, it's hard to boil down immigration here in the United States in about 5 minutes, but hopefully we did it justice here a little bit. Thanks for coming in.
Sure,
we appreciate
thank you.
it. If you or someone you know is a victim who could use the help of the U.S. Department of Immigration, please give them a call. It's 888-373-7888. Or you can log on to uscis.gov. Stay tuned. More Base Sunday coming up right after this.